She was just the waitress holding champagne for people who'd never see her. Until he did. And when her ex tried to destroy her in front of everyone, the most dangerous man in the room made a choice that would change both their lives forever. She's mine. Naomi's fingers trembled slightly as she balanced the silver tray of champagne flutes. The Grand Meridian ballroom glittered with 1,000 points of light. Chandeliers dripping crystal, silk-draped tables, and people who wore their wealth like a second skin. She was invisible here. Just another black woman in a crisp white shirt and black slacks, weaving through conversations about summer homes and stock portfolios. She'd perfected the art of disappearing in plain sight. 6 months ago, she would have been a guest at a wedding like this. The memory hit sharp and sudden. Derek's voice in her tiny apartment. "You're exhausting, Naomi. Always needing validation. I can't keep pretending you're enough." She'd stood there in the dress, and she'd bought for his sister's wedding watching him walk out. He'd made her feel small for wanting to be chosen, for believing she deserved to be seen. Now she served champagne to people who looked through her. Across the ballroom, the energy shifted. Naomi felt it before she saw him. A change in the air, conversations dropping to whispers. She turned. The man who entered didn't walk. He commanded space. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a black suit that probably cost more than her yearly rent. His face was all sharp angles and controlled intensity. Korean features set in an expression that said he'd seen violence and caused more. Chong. She'd heard the name whispered by the catering staff. Mafia CEO, untouchable, dangerous. His eyes swept the room with the precision of someone cataloging threats. Then they landed on her. For 3 seconds, the world stopped. His gaze was obsidian, dark, fathomless, and somehow seeing her in a way that made her breath catch. Not looking through her, looking at her. Naomi's pulse jumped. She looked away first, heat flooding her cheeks. "Don't be stupid. Men like that don't see women like you." She moved toward the kitchen, needing air, needing distance from those eyes. She pushed through the service door and stopped. Derek stood by the dessert table, laughing with 2 other guests. Same charming smile, same easy confidence. He wore success like cologne. Her stomach dropped. He turned, saw her, and something cruel flickered across his face. "Well, well," Derek's voice carried across the service area. "Naomi, I heard you were working here tonight." Derek didn't lower his voice. He wanted everyone to hear. "Serving champagne now?" He laughed, sharp and cutting. "I remember when you had dreams, big plans. Guess reality caught up, huh?" Naomi's throat tightened. The other guests glanced over, curiosity lighting their faces. "Derek, please. What happened to that confidence?" He stepped closer, voice dripping false concern. "You used to think you belonged in rooms like this, as a guest." His eyes raked over her uniform. "Turns out I was right. You look better serving than sitting." The champagne tray shook in her hands. "That's enough." The voice came from behind her, low, calm, and somehow more terrifying than any shout. Chong materialized like smoke, suddenly occupying the space between her and Derek. Up close, he was overwhelming. 6 feet of controlled violence wrapped in expensive fabric. "Who the hell are you?" Derek's bravado faltered. Chong ignored him entirely. He turned to Naomi, and his eyes, God, those eyes, softened just a fraction. "Put the tray down," he said quietly. "I'm working. I can't just..." "Put it down." It wasn't a command. It was a promise that he'd handle whatever came next. Naomi set the tray on a nearby table with trembling hands. Chong's hand came to rest at the small of her back. Possessive, warm, claiming. The simple touch sent electricity through her entire body. Then he turned back to Derek and the temperature dropped 10 degrees. "She's with me," Chong said. Each word fell like a stone into still water. "She's mine." The ballroom went silent. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Heads turned. Derek's face went white, then red. "This is insane." She's a waitress. She's mine, Chong repeated, voice quieter now, which somehow made it worse. And you will never speak to her again. You will never look at her again. You will leave this venue in the next 60 seconds, or I'll have you removed in a way you won't enjoy. Derek opened his mouth. Two men in dark suits appeared from nowhere, flanking him. 50 seconds, Chong said. Derek fled. Naomi couldn't breathe. Every eye in the room was on her now, on them. Chong's hand stayed steady at her back, anchoring her. Why? She whispered. Chong looked down at her, and for the first time, something like vulnerability flickered across his face. Because no one gets to make you feel small, he said. Not while I'm breathing. Naomi pulled away the moment they stepped into the service hallway, her back hitting the wall. You can't just... Her voice broke. You can't do that. Chong stopped 3 feet away, giving her space. His hands hung loose at his sides, but tension radiated from every line of his body. I just did. You don't even know me. The words came out desperate, confused. Why would you, in front of all those people? I know enough. His eyes never left hers. I know a man was trying to destroy you. I know you were shaking. I know you deserved better than standing there alone. Naomi's chest heaved. This isn't some romance novel. You can't just claim people. I didn't claim you like property. Chong's jaw tightened. I claimed you as mine to protect. There's a difference. I don't need protection. I don't need saving. No, he interrupted, voice softening dangerously. You don't. But you shouldn't have to fight battles alone when someone's willing to stand beside you. The service door burst open. Derek stood there, 2 security guards behind him, trying to pull him back. You think you can just walk away with her? Derek's face was twisted with rage. You don't know what she is. She's nothing. She's... Chong moved. 1 second, he was across the hallway. The next, his hand was around Derek's throat, lifting him slightly off the ground. The security guards froze. Finish that sentence, Chong whispered, and they'll never find your body. Chong! Naomi grabbed his arm. Don't. Please. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Chong's fingers slowly released. Derek collapsed, coughing. Get him out, Chong said to the security guards. His voice was empty now, clinical. Permanently. As Derek was dragged away, Chong turned back to Naomi. The violence drained from his expression, replaced by something raw and uncertain. I'm sorry you saw that. Who are you? Naomi breathed. Someone who recognizes what's valuable. He stepped closer, slowly, carefully. And what's worth fighting for? You don't know me, she repeated, but weaker this time. Then let me. Naomi's phone buzzed. A text from her manager. You're fired. Don't come back. Her world tilted. Chong saw it in her face. What happened? She showed him the phone, trying not to cry. I just lost my job. Because of you, because of... No! His voice turned to steel. Because of him. And I'll fix it. You can't fix everything. Watch me. Chong's car was exactly what she expected. Sleek, black, expensive. What she didn't expect was him opening her door with unexpected gentleness, waiting until she was settled before closing it. The leather seat smelled like cedar and something darker. Masculine. He slid into the driver's seat and suddenly the space felt too small, too intimate. Where do you live? Naomi rattled off her address. You don't have to do this. I can take a bus. Naomi. The way he said her name like he was tasting it, learning it, made her stomach flip. Stop fighting me on the small things. They drove in silence for 3 blocks. Rain started pattering against the windshield. Why did you stay with him? Chong asked quietly. That man, Derek. Naomi stared out the window. Because he made me believe I should be grateful someone like him chose someone like me. Chong's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Someone like you. Black, working class, without connections or pedigree. She laughed bitterly. He said I had potential, but I needed to... Her voice cracked. Tone myself down. Be less, want less. The car swerved to the shoulder and stopped. Chong turned to her, eyes blazing. Look at me. She did. You are not less, he said, each word deliberate. You are not too much. You are exactly what you should be, and any man who can't see that is blind. You don't know. I know that when I saw you in that ballroom, you were the only real thing in a room full of ghosts. His hand moved to cup her, face warm, calloused, trembling slightly. I know that when he spoke to you like that, something in me broke. Something I thought was dead. Naomi's breath caught. What are you saying? I'm saying this isn't rescue. This isn't charity. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. This is me recognizing what's mine before I even knew I was looking for it. I'm not yours, not yet, he agreed. But you will be. The certainty in his voice should have terrified her. Instead, it ignited something. You're insane. Probably. His lips curved into the ghost of a smile. But I'm also the man who's going to make sure you never feel invisible again. Rain hammered the roof. The world outside disappeared. Let me take you home, Chong said softly. Let me make sure you're safe. Then decide if you want to see me again. And if I say no? Pain flickered across his face. Then I walk away, no matter how much it costs me. Naomi stared at this dangerous, impossible man. Take me home, she whispered. 3 days passed like a fever dream. Chong didn't push. He simply appeared. Coffee showed up at her apartment door each morning. Expensive, perfectly made, with a note in sharp handwriting. You're not alone. On the 4th day, he called. Dinner, my place. I'll cook. Naomi should have said no. Should have remembered the violence she'd seen, the danger radiating from him. She said yes. His penthouse was stunning. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Minimalist furniture. Everything precise and controlled. Except the kitchen, which smelled like heaven. Chong stood at the stove in a black t-shirt and slacks, cooking something that made her mouth water. He looked different here, less armored. You cook? Naomi asked, hovering in the doorway. My mother taught me before she died. He didn't turn around. She said a man who can't feed the people he loves is useless? The vulnerability in those words cracked something open. How old were you? 12. He plated bulgogi and rice with practiced ease. My father was already deep in the organization. She tried to keep me out. Failed. They ate at his dining table, just the two of them, city lights glittering below. The food was incredible, but Naomi barely tasted it. She was too focused on the way Chong watched her, like she was something precious he was afraid to break. Why me? She finally asked. Really? Chong set down his chopsticks. Because 5 years ago, I couldn't save someone. A woman He paused, pain etching his features. Cared about. She was caught in the crossfire of my world. I was too late. Naomi's heart clenched. When I saw that man humiliating you, Chong continued, voice raw. When I saw you trying to disappear, something in me snapped. I couldn't watch another woman be destroyed by a coward. So this is about her? No. He reached across the table, covering her hand with his. This started as an old wound, but the moment you looked at me, really looked at me, it became about you. Just you. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You think you're special? He'll use you and throw you away like trash. Chong saw her face change. What is it? She showed him. His expression went cold and lethal. He's been messaging me, Naomi admitted, saying horrible things, that I'm using you for money, that you're slumming it, that I'm... Where is he? Chong, where? I don't know, but you can't... He was already on his phone, speaking rapid Korean. Naomi caught words that sounded like orders. When he hung up, his eyes were black ice. No one threatens what's mine. Come with me, Chong said, voice still tight with barely controlled rage. He led her to the balcony. The night air was cool, the city sprawling endlessly below them. He gripped the railing, knuckles white. I don't know how to be gentle with threats, he said finally. My world doesn't work that way. Someone crosses a line, you erase the line in the person. Naomi moved beside him. That's not who I need you to be. Then who do you need? The man who cooked his mother's recipe. She touched his hand gently. The man who leaves me coffee with notes. The man who sees me. Chong turned, eyes searching hers. You make me want to be better than what I've become, but I don't know if I can. Then let me help you find out. Something broke in his expression. Years of control crumbling. He cupped her face with both hands, thumbs tracing her cheekbones like she was art. I've done terrible things, Naomi. I've hurt people. I don't care about your past. Her hands covered his. I care about who you choose to be right now. I choose you, he whispered fiercely. I choose this. Whatever this is. The kiss, when it came, was everything. Desperate and tender. Claiming and asking permission all at once. Naomi melted into him, feeling his heart hammer against hers. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Chong rested his forehead against hers. Stay tonight, he murmured. Not for... Just stay. Let me hold you. Let me prove I can be what you need. They ended up on his couch, Naomi tucked against his chest, his arms wrapped around her like a fortress. He told her about growing up in two worlds, Korean traditions and American streets, about choosing the family business because it was the only way to protect the people he loved. She told him about growing up never feeling quite enough, about Derek's systematic destruction of her confidence, about rebuilding herself one coffee shop shift at a time. You're extraordinary, Chong said into her hair, and I'll spend every day proving that to you. You already are. What's harder, leaving someone toxic or believing you deserve better? Share your thoughts below. Your story might help someone else. Somewhere in the city, Derek watched from his car, rage building. He made a call. Yeah, I need a favor, the kind that sends a message. Naomi was restocking shelves at the bookstore, her new job quieter than the wedding circuit, when Derek appeared. She didn't see him until he was blocking the aisle, two of his friends flanking him. The store was nearly empty. Found you, Derek said, smile vicious. Get out. Naomi's voice was steady despite her racing heart. Not until we have a conversation. He stepped closer. About you and your mafia boyfriend. He's not... Please. Derek laughed. You really think Chong sees you as anything more than a project? A charity case? His voice turned cruel. You're a phase, Naomi. Exotic. Different. But guys like him don't end up with girls like you. You don't know anything about us. I know he's using you. I know when he's done, you'll be exactly where you started. Alone, broke, and grateful for scraps. The door chimed. Chong walked in and the air turned electric. Derek's confident mask slipped. This is private. No, Chong said quietly, moving to stand beside Naomi. This is over. You think you can just buy her? Derek's desperation made him reckless. She's with you for your money. The punch came so fast, Naomi barely saw it. Derek hit the ground, blood streaming from his nose. Chong, stop! She grabbed his arm, but something in Chong had snapped. He hauled Derek up by his collar, face twisted with rage. You think I don't know what you did to her? How you broke her down piece by piece? How you made her believe she was worthless? Chong, please! Naomi's voice broke. Derek laughed through bloody teeth. What are you gonna do? Kill me in front of her? Show her what you really are? Chong's fist raised again. Stop! Naomi screamed. The raw pain in her voice cut through his rage. Chong froze, turned, saw the fear in her eyes. "I can't watch this," she whispered. "I can't be the reason you become a monster." "Naomi, you're proving him right." Tears streamed down her face. "That this is just violence and danger, that I'm just another problem you'll handle with your fists." Chong dropped Derek like he was burning. "That's not... I need you to leave." The words cost her everything. "Both of you. I need you to go." "Naomi, please." "Go!" Chong stared at her, devastation breaking across his face. Then he turned and walked out, his men following. Derek stumbled to his feet, grinning despite his injuries. "Told you. You'll never be enough for someone like him." Naomi slid down the shelf, burying her face in her hands. The silence was deafening. She'd sent away the first man who'd made her feel seen, and she'd done it to save him from himself. 5 days of silence felt like drowning. Naomi went through motions: work, home, sleep, repeat. Her apartment felt emptier. Her coffee tasted wrong. The city seemed dimmer. No messages from Chong, no coffee at her door, nothing. It was what she'd asked for. It was destroying her. On the 6th day, a letter arrived. Thick cream paper, her name in sharp handwriting. "Naomi, I'm not good with words unless they're threats. But I need you to know these truths. You were right. I let rage control me. I became exactly what I've spent years trying to rise above. You deserved better. Derek is alive and will remain so. I've made sure he won't bother you again, legally, through channels that won't stain my hands or your conscience. He's facing charges for harassment. My lawyers are handling it. I'm not writing to ask you back. I'm writing to give you what you need: space, freedom, the choice to walk away from a man who might always carry darkness. But if you want to know what I believe you saved me that day in the bookstore. You showed me that real strength isn't violence. It's the courage to walk away when someone you love asks you to. I love you, Naomi. Not as a project, not as redemption, as the woman who makes me want to be worthy of the way you look at me. If you decide you can't live with what I am, I understand. But know that I'll spend the rest of my life becoming the man you believed I could be. Yours, if you'll have me." Chong Naomi read it 3 times, tears blurring the words. She thought about Derek's cruelty, about feeling small and worthless. Then she thought about Chong's hands trembling as he touched her face. His vulnerability, his fierce protection, the man who'd walked away when she asked, even though it clearly destroyed him. Her phone buzzed, a text from her former supervisor at the catering company. "Your job is available again if you want it. Someone made a very generous donation to convince management you were wrongfully terminated." Naomi stared at the message. Chong hadn't pushed his way back into her life. He'd just quietly fixed what Derek had broken. Rain started falling outside her window. She made her choice. Naomi stood outside Chong's building at midnight, soaked to the bone. The doorman recognized her and let her up without question. She knocked on his door, waited. Her heart was a drum against her ribs. The door opened. Chong looked wrecked. Hair disheveled, dark circles under his eyes, wearing only sweatpants. When he saw her, something shattered and rebuilt in his expression. "Naomi, claim me again," she said, voice steady despite the rain dripping from her hair. "But this time, I'm claiming you back. You don't have to. I'm not here because I have to." She stepped forward, cupping his face. "I'm here because I choose you. Your darkness and your light. Your past and your future. All of it." "I might not always get it right," he said, voice rough. "I might. Then we'll figure it out together." She pulled him down until their foreheads touched. That's what love is, not perfect, just committed. Chong's arms wrapped around her, lifting her off the ground as he carried her inside. The door closed behind them. "I love you," he whispered against her lips. "God, Naomi, I love you so much." "I love you too, even when you're impossible, especially then." The kiss was everything their first one had, been and more. Promise and passion, desperation and devotion. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Naomi smiled. "So what happens now?" "Now," Chong said, eyes soft, "I spend every day proving I'm worthy of you." 6 months later, the charity gala was in full swing. Naomi stood beside Chong in a stunning black dress, no longer invisible but confidently present. She'd started her own catering business, with Chong's investment but her vision. A wealthy socialite approached, eyeing Naomi with thinly veiled disdain. "And you are?" "His partner," Naomi said smoothly, extending her hand. "In business and in life." The woman's smile was condescending. "How progressive." "How lucky," Chong corrected, his hand finding Naomi's. "That I convinced her I was worth her time." Later, on the balcony under stars, Naomi leaned into Chong's embrace. "Remember when you claimed me at that wedding?" she murmured. "Every second of it." "I think that was the moment I started believing I deserved to be chosen." Chong turned her to face him, eyes intense. "You didn't need to be chosen, Naomi. You needed someone who recognized you were already whole." She kissed him then, slow, deep, full of love that had survived darkness and emerged stronger. Across the gala, through the window, someone watched. Not Derek, he was long gone, facing consequences. Just a young waitress with a champagne tray, staring at Naomi with hope in her eyes. Naomi saw her, smiled, and raised her glass in a small toast. "You're not invisible, you're just waiting to be seen by someone worthy of you."